Good evening and welcome back. It's Saturday night as always. Good to be here. We'll wait a couple minutes, see who rolls in, who doesn't roll in. I know it's a Saturday night. Most of the country is a beautiful, well, I shouldn't say most of the country. I think there's some bad weather coming in from, I'm going to turn off my fan there. Good evening, Brother Jorge. It's good to see you. How are you this evening? Nice to have you here tonight. I apologize for my voice. No idea why my voice is going out this week, but here we are. But I'm not going to let that stop me from talking. So your neck of the woods are probably decent weather, I presume. I don't know. I haven't looked at the weather up there. I know in Texas, I guess they get that storm rolling through or coming up that direction. We had a little bit of rain down here the other day, but didn't exactly make the temperature drop, I tell you. Still hot, still warm, as I wear a long sleeve shirt. Who knows? But I know we have a lot of bad weather in different areas off the coast. But overall, the heat index is still pretty high. But it's good to have you here once again. I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about this evening. I was working on my tool shed this morning, this morning, whatever it was, trying to straighten it out, organize it, and prepare because I can't find a thing since we moved down here. It's been a year since we moved to Tennessee, and I haven't unpacked all of my tools that are in there. So had fun doing that for a while. But I want to talk about obstacles, the roadblocks. I was thinking about a couple of different people, but I was thinking about my last week or so. And I was thinking about my oldest boy and some stuff he's going through at the moment. And talking about how we deal with these things as Christians. I think it's important to look at things from, obviously, a Christian standpoint because it matters how you approach things. Some people don't approach it the same way. They get flustered and they get angry and a lot of those things. I usually am pretty calm about things, and what usually gets me mad is when everybody else gets mad, and then I got to deal with everybody else's, and then I start to get annoyed. But there are things that happen you just can't deal with. I know I was going to lose my PTO at work, whatever. I was going to roll with it, but I was like, not a big deal. But then a friend of mine came up with an idea. Make sure I got it. I'm like, excellent. Then I shouldn't say blew out my knee, but I hurt my knee during the week a couple of days ago. So actually it wasn't a couple of days, it was Friday. So today's Saturday, not even a couple of days ago. I was in extreme pain all day on my knee, spread down to my foot through my calf, and just had a hard time walking all day long. But I wasn't going to, cry or call out or leave work and just keep on rolling. Because the reason maybe it's a wrong reason for doing it, but I know that people are going to look at me differently at my workplace, how I handle these things, which can be good and bad depending on how you look at it. But we're supposed to be a light out there. We claim to be Christians. We claim to be born again Christians. We claim to be godly men. We claim to do this. We claim to do that. So here's my problem. Many people claim it, but they can't seem to follow. You know what I'm saying? They're all to talk, but they can't step up to the plate. And so that's why I'm not going to call out or complain and whine. I want them to know that as Christians, we don't cry and whine. You know what I mean? We do what we got to do and we get through the next day. So was in pain for most of the day. Got home, was still in a lot of pain. Didn't feel good last night. But I woke up this morning. Knee was feeling okay. Then my calf started hurting. But before that, yesterday, my oldest boy calls, and I called the house, and I just got home right after he called. He's broke down in his workplace. Battery won't charge, or his truck won't start. So now I just got home. Now I got to fly back out. And I say this not because I'm trying to point out, oh, look at how good I am. I just went and did all these things. I was like, yeah, I'm the man. I took all of this. No, a lot of Christians, good, solid, godly men, fight through all these things because they deal with the world every day, and it's very important. And obstacles will come along. But these obstacles, we keep these obstacles in our way as if it's supposed to stop us, but we can't do that. So let me go back to what I was saying, and I'll go back again and again and again. So I go out there, try to jump my son's vehicle. Well, that's an obstacle now. That doesn't start. Turns out it's probably going to be the alternator. So then we're going to tow it. So we had to tow it back home. Now we're talking at 7, 8 o'clock at night. I still hadn't ate all my food for supper yet. So I'm eating it, and I'm in a lot of pain. Woke up this morning, he was feeling better. Calf was an issue. Then I got the leg. So you got that. But now those obstacles that my son ran into turned out to be a good thing. My obstacles, his obstacles. Now he was able to come up with a plan for different things, found out he wasn't saving the money he should have been saving. But he finally hit his rock bottom to change his life around. So that's important because people have to hit their rock bottom. Sometimes they have to experience the pain and suffering once in a while so they get it. Maybe pain and suffering is being overboard on the phrase or overusing those two words. But that's sometimes we have to hit that rock bottom. We have to be in that place where, oh my goodness, what do I do? And then you have to deal with it. But here's a problem with, I find even some mainline and mainstream Christians, just like the secular world, they let it bog them down. All of a sudden, when things start happening, they start losing faith and they don't trust in the Lord. Now, I'm always amused by men or even women who claim they trust in the Lord, they have faith in the Lord when they have no obstacles that they ever have to clear. It's always easy for guys out there who don't have to deal with the world. They don't have to go to work every day. They don't have to raise a family or take care of a family or all these things. And I'll say guys, the type of guys, but they're women, the same thing. But they want to tell you about obstacles and how to trust and so forth. Well, you've never had to be in the situation to do that. So I always have problems with people like that. But I have to have trust and faith that my knee will get better, even my voice right now, that will get better. And you have to deal with these things. For us as Christians, we should not have to worry about obstacles and roadblocks. When we look at both of those things, we should consider them to be small speed bumps in the parking lot. You just got to slow down, go over, continue. But not everybody does that. Those obstacles and roadblocks, they build into giant walls, and now they can't get to where they're going. They create things that are bigger than they actually are. There's an old saying, mountains out of molehills. That's what some people do. They create bigger problems instead of dealing with that one small problem that's in front of them. Because if you don't deal with that one small one, what happens? We all know this. This is not rocket science. It's a domino effect, and it just spirals out of control and it becomes worse and worse and worse. But if you're, and I truly believe this, if you're a born again Christian, you rely on the Lord. You rely on the scriptures. You pray through every situation, and people always say, well, does that mean a prayer is going to be answered that minute? No, doesn't mean it's going to always happen that minute. Excuse me, I'll take a drink of water. I know it's a little unprofessional, but my voice is a little off tonight. Maybe it's all the talking I always do. And somebody will say, that's right, you talk too much. Yeah, fair enough. But we have to stop letting the world's attitudes and the way they approach things, and even false Christians or even Christians who mean well, but they're way off the mark. We have to not worry about falling in that trap. And the only way we don't have to worry about it is as long as we stay in the Word of God. We keep our thumb between the pages. That's what we do. We keep our thumb between the pages and our heart in the book. And that is the only way we're going to get through each one of these things that comes along. They're not going to be obstacles. They're not going to be roadblocks. They're going to be small speed bumps. I don't mean this to be a motivational speaking situation. I don't. That's not my intent. I'm not trying to be the Christian version of Tony Robbins or anything like that. Sorry, I'm going to take probably a lot of sips as I go because of my voice. But we have to continue to stay true. We have to stay in the faith. We have to keep praying. We have to keep focused. The moment we start wondering why me, or why am I in the situation, or why this and why that, as soon as those thoughts happen, that's really you got devils right there. You got Satan in control now. He's really infiltrated your thoughts at that point. Yes, we can also say it's partly flesh, absolutely. But we tend to let that bog us down when we don't have to. And I know some people, it's easier said than done, Stephen. You don't know what I'm going through. You have no idea. My mother's in a coma, and I can't see her. And I have family members who don't want me around. I have this and that. And they hate my religion. And they every time I see them in the hospital, they get angry and create strife. Welcome to my world. That's exactly what I've been through. I've seen that, done that. My mother was in a coma. She was out at, oh man, what was the name? It was in Worcester, Massachusetts. It's in Worcester. Oh man, I can't remember I think it was UMass Memorial. That's what it was. UMass Memorial out in Worcester. Pretty sure that's the name of the hospital. Anyways, and that's where she was. None of my family wanted me there. Now I had to deal with those family members. They became my obstacles and my roadblock of seeing my mother. But then I had to work around that. I'm like, wait, I can't let them control where I'm going. I just sidestep. I'm like, move, get out of my way, and you move forward. Those obstacles are always going to be there, whether they be in your personal life, whether it be in your work life, whether it be in the neighborhood you live in, the town you're in. Obstacles are always going to be there. People are always putting up obstacles and roadblocks, always. It'll never stop. But again, as long as your thumb is between the pages and your heart is in the book and you are solely living your life and standing on the word of God to the best of your ability, because we're not perfect. I don't mean, hey, we all fall short. No, sometimes we make mistakes. But we repent for those mistakes. And we're sorry for them. But we can get over anything. We can solve anything. You don't understand, Stephen, I just lost my job and where am I supposed to go? Prayer. But not just prayer and sit down on the couch and let God do all the work, but prayer. I don't think I pray enough. I don't think any of us pray enough. I'll be honest, I don't know everybody, but I'm sure I'm willing to bet any good, solid, born-again Christian will tell me they don't pray enough. And they may pray 3-4 times a day, and they still don't believe they do. And I think it's a healthy attitude to believe that you don't pray enough. I think the people who say, oh, I pray 3 times a day, that's decent. The moment you put a number on what you think is decent, I think that's an issue at that point. I really do. I think we run into a problem at that point. But like I said, my son had these obstacles in front of him, but he's now fixed them. We dealt with it this morning. We dealt with it calmly. We dealt with the issue. I finally, getting over everything and stuff like that. Today we dealt with it. And for some odd reason, he was trying to change the alternator. We went and bought an alternator. We put it in there. And me, my silent prayer, I'm just praying that I'm like, Lord, I hope this alternator works. Let's hope this is all it is, Lord. And he didn't even get the alternator in because we couldn't get it out and it was kind of stuck. And so I was like, you know what? We're just going to take it down to guys down the road because they put the used engine and transmission in my truck, and they did a pretty good job. So let's go back to them. And but I'm like, all right, we're going to have to get a tow. And he puts the battery back in because he wants to make sure everything turns on so he can put neutral, blah, blah, blah. He turns the ignition, it starts up. Now I'm in the shed. At the tool shed, and I look out at him and I'm like, go. Excuse me. So he gets out and he drives down the road and gets there and drops off the truck. So I'm thankful to the Lord. In that moment, a prayer was answered right away. But again, the prayer of let it not be expensive may not be there, but he's got to learn the lesson and so forth. But these are obstacles that we have to deal with. And I want him to learn to deal with it in the way a Christian would deal with it. Because in the world, they just fly off the control and they're going to go after you and it can't be done. And there's a lot of nonsense that the world happens and it's everybody else's fault that I can't get around these things. No, it's not the whole world's fault. It's your fault. You may have not put yourself in there in the position you're in. But if you keep yourself in that position, then it is your fault. You remain behind those obstacles. You put more obstacles in front of you. You went and got those roadblock signs and you added to the roadblocks that are already there, which you don't have to do. You can kick over the roadblock signs. Not on a real highway, I'm just saying. You can kick them over and you can go through them. Jorge, you probably, Brother Jorge, you probably heard me say this before, but I know some people have. I don't like to rock the boat. I like to flip the whole boat over, because I think people are like, oh, don't rock the boat. I'm like, rock the boat. I'm going to flip that whole boat over. That's just sometimes how it's got to be done. But I wish we had a few more people in here could add in tonight. But speaking of, before I go further, I want to make sure that I'm stay consistent as always and being thankful for everyone. And because I truly am, I usually open up with that, but I am grateful. I also close with that, but I am grateful and I am thankful for everyone who does watch this now or down the road. I am very appreciative of that. And I'll plug the website, I guess, at the same time. The website is up and running, so that's good to go. We'll get more content in there. I think I'll be doing a small article on German rationalism of the mid-1800s, and that will go into a whole thing I'm working on with Eberhard Nessel and Kurt Allen, and then Tischendorf, and a little different spin on Tischendorf, not the usual same thing that you've heard. Konstantin Tischendorf. I probably mention names. My wife will say, honey, sometimes you mention names nobody knows. If you follow any of the ESV episodes I've done, you could trace that all the way back to that situation and the Catholic Church at that point in time. No conspiracies, just some are like, kind of make you think type of thing, and other things are like, that's a connection, but we'll go deeper and we'll go into, we're not going to stick to just the Vatican. We're going to talk about German philosophy and other philosophers. But anyway, I'm going to go off the track on that, but we got a lot of that coming up. When I do my post, the article's a little shorter, but the podcast will be longer, obviously, on those things. So appreciate that. So now I'm just rambling on. I apologize. But back to the obstacles. There's almost not going to be a day it doesn't happen. And as Christians, we have got to stop thinking that every obstacle is an actual obstacle to stop you in a negative way. Things happen for a purpose that we don't see. I've heard life talk about the tapestry, like this little piece, but that's true. A blanket or a quilt or anything like that, we'll use a quilt. There's a small stitch down here, but there's a different stitch up here. These two stitches aren't connected right away, but that you can see, but throughout that whole thing, they are connected. And I think that's another problem we have to look at as Christians. Not every obstacle is there to ruin your life. And people literally will look at it this way, like, Lord, I did what I was supposed to do. I did this, I did that, I did this. Okay. Now, at that point, you've now decided your works were in place instead of faith. And I know it's not always easy to have faith. I get it. We have those moments that we fail on that in that department of faith and trusting, but you have to. I mean, what is your alternative to not trusting the Lord? Failing? To me, that's you got two options. You trust in the Lord and succeed in where He wants you to succeed, or just fail. Well, I'm not a Christian. I succeed in life. Well, good for you. You succeed in life, and now you'll fail eternity. Harsh, maybe. I don't know. So, I mean, I didn't want to make this. I probably wasn't going to make this live stream too long tonight. I think mostly because of my voice, but I think it's really important to realize this, that we have to look at our obstacles. I think a better way to say it is using discernment to look at our obstacles and our roadblocks. Take a moment to look why they're there. Maybe there are things you've been praying for, and then something happens that you don't know is connected to that. And I'm leaving the job I have and I'm going to another one, right? So I'm leaving a job where I drive all over eastern Tennessee and some of middle Tennessee, delivering aftermarket auto body parts to auto body shops. Not like Napa or anything like that, but deliver bumpers, fenders, things of that nature, grills, and so forth. No engines though, or transmissions. But I didn't know why I got that particular job because, and for me, I had to search out different things. I'm probably going off track a little bit here, but I had to be careful of what I'm going to job. Yes, you can go drive. I heard a preacher once say, and I will agree with him on this one. Just because the beer truck company pays a lot of money doesn't mean you should be driving for a beer company, which is absolutely true. I do believe that no matter what the money is. Absolutely. I mean, everything we do, we should find a way to glorify God. Even if we're in a job that isn't perfect, it isn't something God will approve of, we still have to glorify God in that because there might be a reason to put you in there for that moment. Doesn't mean it's long term. Now, I had to look at different things. Like, well, I could take that, but that's not going to work. I didn't think it was morally in the right direction, so to speak, a lack of better phrasing. But so on, I took the parts job. I'm like, well, I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm delivering parts. I'm not seeing an issue there. So that's not a problem. I can move forward with that. That didn't, that was there for a moment. And I'm thinking, boy, why are things all of a sudden falling apart? Well, because the Lord had something on the horizon. And believe it or not, when I started thinking things are falling apart, part was like, well, that's weird. But then I was like, you know what? Whatever. And not to be nonchalant, like, I don't care. I was like, you know what? God's got something. Don't know what it is. Don't have a clue. Now, some people are like, how can you possibly run your life like that? Just like, I don't know what God has in plan. It's easy to do. Just keep on rolling. So far, and we talk about track records, right? When we work at places, people have leniency because they have a track record of doing what's right and what's good, and they've never done anything wrong, blah, blah, blah. So they're giving an extra leniency, right? Well, that's how I feel about it, too. I'm like, God has a perfect track record for me. Even in times when I thought, and I look back now, when I thought God let me down, no, I let God down, but he didn't let me down. He's got a perfect track record. So who am I to question God? So I just roll with that. And then a brother in Christ down here texts me. Also, they call me, texts me and says, "Hey, you still interested in a different driving job?" I guess. Like, so he let me know, and now I'll be doing medical supplies, which I want to do that. I enjoy that, and that you get to help people. And yeah, some of these people may have been smoking 30 years. And that's why they need an oxygen tank. But now the door is open to something amazing. That you're helping people, and you have the opportunity to spread the word again. I did the same thing at the other place, So as long as you stay faithful and true, all the little obstacles and roadblocks that come along, they're not going to be anything. They're just little speed bumps or even redirections. Maybe you missed a detour sign saying, that's a roadblock, but it's a detour, and you're going to like the view. It goes right to the mountains. It's beautiful. You're going to love the view. And you come back down. I don't want to start saying the whole, hey, positive thinking makes positive things happen. No, that's not what I'm talking about either. But with faith, I'm positive whatever God's got planned, it'll work out. I don't know what it's going to be. And sometimes the losses are gains. I mean, it's an interesting way to look at it, but it's true. Those of you watching right now, and again, those of you watching me down the road, I apologize for the water drinking. I shouldn't have to apologize over and over again, but throat's a little off there, my voice. So hopefully I'll get my voice back by tomorrow night because got to do my podcast tomorrow night. So I'm going to have my voice ready to go there. Well, you have an opportunity also when these obstacles, and some of us keep them to ourselves and we don't share any of our struggles or troubles or stuff like that at work. Sometimes you might want to show people, oh, this is what happened to me. And this, as a born again Christian, don't say this is how I did it. Because I think they need to know why you did it and who helped you through that. It could be another brother or sister or anything like that, but it's God. It's prayer. That's what they need to know. They need to know that's how you got through it. That's how you made those decisions. You don't have to lie to them because you shouldn't be lying to them. It should be the truth. You shouldn't be making that up at all. That's how you roll through it. And for me, that's how I look at it. I was just talking to my son today about that. He says, listen, you're getting angry for no reason, bro. You got to bring it down a level. That's not how you're going to approach it. You're not going to fix the problem getting angry and mad for no reason. You got to stop, look solid at it. People do that. They want to get angry. They want to start mouthing off. They want to start throwing a bunch of stuff out there. Shh. You got to be quiet. I think in Italian, it's stacci. In Spanish, it's silencio. I believe it's silencio, por favor. I mean, I think in a vaguer way, I don't think it's a swear word. Is silencio means just to be silent, be quiet. If you want to get angry, it's I believe it's callate, which means just shut up. Sometimes you just gotta shut up for a second, and look at the situation, analyze the situation. What's the next move? What's the next step? And believe me, I know this because I spent a lot of my earlier life a pretty, what's a good word? I just heard this word the other day. I haven't heard in a long time. Hothead. It was a little bit of a hothead. It's and sometimes I still get a little quick to the anger point because it's always been who I was. I'm nowhere near, obviously, where I was. Probably, believe it or not, some might not believe me, but 15% of the angry person I was, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. Well, take that for what it's worth of how angry I could get back then. But we need to just calm down, take a look at the situation. And are these obstacles really obstacles? Are these roadblocks really roadblocks in a negative fashion? Or are they pointing us, or are they redirecting us in a different direction that is better for us? And whether it be on the job, whether it be in the workforce, in the job site, whether it be wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Personal, financial, it doesn't matter. Look at what they're there for. And think of where you're supposed to be. And I'm talking as a born-again Christian, where are you supposed to be? Are you where you're supposed to be? Are you in a field? Are you doing? Did you turn something down that you shouldn't have that would have been more in the line of glorifying God? I just thought I heard a firework off in the distance somewhere. It's 4th of July weekend or week or whatever. It's been going on forever. I got some people down the road. They have been setting off fireworks all week. All week. It's a little much, but all week. I didn't want to bore you with this subject too much this evening, but take a moment to ow. Sorry, that was an ow, my knee. Take a moment to really analyze the situation and really take a moment and tell yourself, as a Christian, as a born-again, Bible-believing Christian, are these actual obstacles? Are they actual roadblocks? Were they designed for me to go in the right direction? Or did I create the roadblock? Did I create the obstacle? And did I build that wall in front of me? Because oftentimes that happens too. At the end of the day, unlike the ESV who takes out prayer and fasting, prayer. It's just, you got to give it to the Lord in prayer. We cannot see the future. I don't care what mystic you want to go to. We can't. We know the future, can't see the future. We know the outcome of what's going to happen because of what we believe in and what we believe the Bible teaches us. We don't know where we'll be in that process. We don't know where we'll be in our work life, our marriage, our children, blah, blah, blah. We don't know. But that's the beauty of being a born again Christian. When you're not a Christian, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. So you're always trying to figure out things for yourself and like, I don't know, is this the right decision? I don't know, is this the right decision? I don't know, is this the right decision? Or you can go, Lord, I'm giving this up to you. Is this the right decision? And when I say please speak to me, I don't mean the audible voice. I love that term you hear. The audible voice of God said to me, go to the Quickie Mart or 7-Eleven. You know, that's imputed to your thoughts. All right, well, I'm going to wrap this up. That's been 31 minutes. Jorge, I appreciate you as always, brother. Well, this voice ain't exactly built for an hour and a half show. I can tell you that right now. With that, listen, again, those who are watching now and those who are watching down the road and further days, I appreciate you. I really do. I'm incredibly thankful. Hope some of you can hit the website and the podcast and stuff like that. And here's something I don't say very often, but if you can leave a comment or anything like that, it really gets started for other people. I think there's always somebody who doesn't want to make the first move on comments. I think it gets not only helps get this in the algorithm, I think it creates some positive flow. There's some negativity, obviously, but I like seeing the open dialogue. I love seeing, as I say, I love the negativity. I love seeing that aspect of it too, because I think there's a door open. I think there are people willing to listen, even if they're trying to yell at you. Sometimes they still hear. So I think that's important and to get this out there. So, so you'll see some articles coming up this week on the website. Obviously, the podcast tomorrow. I thank everyone as always. Brother Jorge, as always, praying for you. And others who are not here this evening, you're also in our prayers. But the other ones are usually in the Facebook with my wife on the women's ministry end of the thing. So praying for all of them and their situations. And with that, as always, I awkwardly go to sign out as I always do. God bless everyone. I appreciate you. And have a beautiful evening. Good night.